My beloved, wake up. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit, that ache you've tried to ignore? That's not restlessness. That's me, calling you back to yourself, back to purpose, back to the story I've never stopped writing. Today is not just another morning. This is a divine interruption, a holy collision between your weariness and my awakening. You think you've been waiting on me? No, I've been waiting on your yes. There's no time to sleepwalk through your calling anymore. The enemy has whispered too late long enough. I am here now, and I say, it begins, because I am not finished. With the world, with this hour, with you. So don't just listen. Let this be the moment heaven touches earth through you. Let me resurrect what you buried. Are you ready? Then breathe deep and come alive. No matter what you've been told, what you feared, or the stories you've whispered to yourself in resignation, you still belong here. You belong to this sunrise, to this season, to this unfolding chapter. Even if you don't yet know how to read these pages, there is joy in the atmosphere today. Do you notice it? Not the kind that shouts, not the brittle cheerfulness that masks reality, but the true joy, the kind that arises quietly when my spirit settles near a weary heart and says, we're still in this together. You have nothing to prove to step into my presence this morning. You don't need to show that you're fine or that your faith is unshaken. I am not waiting for your strength. I am here to be your strength. I am not looking for perfection. I am offering you peace. From the first moment of today, let it settle deep. Your story is not finished. Beauty is still unfolding. Nothing in your journey is wasted. Nothing is truly over. However far you feel from where you hope to be, you are not disqualified. You are mine. There's a quiet deception that slips in over the years, especially for those who have loved hard, served faithfully, or carried burdens for others. It whispers, maybe your time has passed, maybe you've poured out all you had and there's nothing left for you. Maybe your dreams, your voice, your space are no longer needed. But that is not my voice. I never speak with dismissals or deadlines. My gifts and my calling are irrevocable. Slow seasons, shifting roles. None of these change my mind about you. I do not pause my work in you when things go quiet. In fact, silence is where I do my deepest work. You were never just another helper to me. Never simply another pair of hands. You delight me. You bring me joy simply by being, by waking up and turning your gaze toward me, by still choosing to care. Yes, even when your prayers are tired, your worship muted, your hope battered, the very longing in your heart is a miracle. I see it, I honor it, I am moved by it. You are not fading in my story. You are ripening, becoming more real, more rooted, more luminous in ways that don't rely on recognition or applause. I never needed you to shine like anyone else. I only asked you to remain close. Remember what I once said, I am the vine, you are the branch. If you abide in me, you will bear fruit, not might, not maybe, but will. I never said it had to be quick or impressive. I simply promised it would be, and it will. Some seasons are for sprouting, some for blooming. Some are for resting, buried deep where no one can see. Every season counts. Right now, the one you are in, it's not wasted. It's not off course. I am here. You still belong. This isn't about returning to a former version of yourself. This isn't about chasing what you used to be. It's about realizing that who you are now, quiet, wise, perhaps a little bruised or slower, is the one I've chosen to carry my light into this world. You don't need a title to bear my presence. You don't need a stage. You just need willingness. And that spark, my beloved, still lives within you. The willingness to say yes, to hope again, to believe beauty can still rise from ordinary days. Let's begin this day differently. Let's start with joy. Not because everything is resolved, but because I am steadfast. I am certain about you. I am sure of your value. I know the goodness I've hidden within this season. I know what I've sown in you and what is growing even now. Even if you see only parched ground, you're not wrong. You're just early. But I see what is on the way. I am not anxious. I am excited. Could you open your heart a little more this morning? Could you offer me not your best, but your honest self? Can you trust that I haven't lost sight of you, that I still know exactly where you fit? Because I do. You still belong here, not in some vague everyone matters sense, but in a particular personal way. Your name, your laughter, your story, your steadfastness, your unique mark on this world, there is room for all of it in what I am doing next. I am not finished with you. I am still writing your story. I am still weaving you into lives that need what only you can offer. I am still calling your name, not with demand but with delight. Let this morning be the gentle reminder your soul has longed for. Let the sunlight on your face be more than light. Let it be assurance. You are not forgotten, not late, not behind. You still belong here. I am not merely glad that you live, I am thrilled you are willing to walk with me. Let's also notice the voice you've been hearing lately, the one that doesn't sound harsh but gradually erodes your joy. It drapes itself in realism, maturity, humility, but underneath is soaked in fear and discouragement. It tells you it's too late. Others do it better. You missed your chance. Your relevance has faded. Your name no longer carries weight. Slowly, that lie becomes a lens, each disappointment feeling like evidence, each quiet moment like abandonment, each unmet hope like proof that you're off track. But please listen to me clearly. That is not my voice. I never guide you by shame. I never push you forward through guilt. My voice, when it comes, may make your spirit tremble, but your heart will always feel lighter. I do not accuse, I awaken. I do not diminish, I restore. I did not knit you together only for the world's noise to unravel you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, and you still are. Even now, you bear my fingerprints. Even in your confusion, in your weariness, your design endures. I know the schemes the enemy has tried against you. I see the web he spun across your mind. He is subtle, calculated. He rarely shouts lies, you'd spot those. Instead, he whispers them in your own voice. I'm not needed. I'm not what I was. No one notices my absence. Then he waits for exhaustion to agree, waits for silence to deepen the doubt. But I never leave my children in confusion. I want you to see through this strategy. You've been enduring a slow spiritual attack, disguised as circumstantial disappointment. The enemy seeks to shrink your vision by shrinking your sense of belonging. If he convinces you that you no longer have a place, you will quietly step back, not in rebellion, but in resignation. That is all he needs, a little agreement, one retreat from the place you were always meant to occupy. But I won't let him win, not here, not now, not while you are listening. I placed eternity in your heart. I set you in this time, on purpose. Thoughts to the contrary are not holy conviction. They are distortions, parasites feeding on confusion's ache. I have come to cut them away. There is a difference between my pruning and the enemy's accusation. I prune because I see fruit coming. He accuses because he fears the potential I put in you. My refining draws you closer. His lies leave you feeling smaller, rejected, disconnected. That is how you discern the difference. Let me make this clear. You are not being set aside. You are not overlooked. This season you're in is not punishment or rejection. It is the turning of the soil before the next surge of growth. You are in my hands, not on the sidelines. I know how hard it is to feel like the rooms that once fit you now feel foreign. You've watched new faces rise, new voices emerge, and wondered if the spotlight has moved. But remember, my light is never in short supply. I don't need to diminish yours to shine through another. I do not trade one child's calling for another's popularity. Your light is still essential. Your voice still matters in my realm. And I have not only called you to continue, I've poured new oil over you for this exact moment. What you call loss, I call legacy. Every person you loved, every hour you gave, every silent sacrifice, I saw it all. I missed nothing. Not one seed of love is forgotten. I collect every tear, treasure every hidden act. You think your impact is gone, but I say it's multiplied. You couldn't see the ripple, but I did. You don't get to tally your reach. That's my role. Trust me, you've touched more lives than you know. This isn't empty encouragement. I am not here with shallow words or fleeting motivation. I am speaking eternal truth to your soul. Your identity is not a mood, but a reality sealed in me. You belong, not because you're achieving, but because you are mine, chosen, set apart, cherished. I wrote your name before the world's foundations. Do you see how deep that runs? Your place was carved into my plan before your first breath. No circumstances can erase it. No broken relationship or lost dream can erase your place. Let me phrase it so your heart can finally take it in. You are irreplaceable. You are not a temporary part in someone else's story. You weren't just needed for one season. You were planted, positioned, and I am the one who waters. Even if others overlooked or forgot you, I have not. If others do not call, I am still calling, by name, with purpose and love. Pause for a moment. Feel where your feet are. You do not have to strive to find your place. You are already in it. No need to climb to be seen. I see you now. What you truly need is to breathe in the truth of your belonging, to let it sink deeper than your memories, to soften any place hardened by discouragement. I am still holding you. I am still writing you in. You are not on the margins of my plan. You are at its heart. Let me gently take you back, not for shame, but to uncover what you've silently carried for too long. There was a time, perhaps more than one, when the room grew cold, when you offered your heart, your loyalty, your ideas, and were met with silence, indifference, or rejection. You didn't speak of it much. You carried on, but something holy inside you cracked. You began to think your presence brought tension, that your voice was too much, or, worse, didn't matter at all. Unconsciously, you adjusted. You shrank your spirit, held your breath where you once felt free. That's when the unraveling started. You stopped bringing your whole self into conversations, became unsure if people wanted the real you or a tidier version. Each time you shrank, you called it maturity, wisdom, discernment. It wasn't. It was grief, the quiet sorrow of not feeling safe to be seen. And I was present for every second. I watched you keep serving, stay faithful, even as your sense of identity faded. You waited for someone to notice, to draw you aside and say, "You matter, you're needed." No one did, so you built a new, quieter normal. You convinced yourself this is what it means to mature, to fade while others take the lead. But the truth is, your soul still longs to be included. You just stopped hoping. That ache, that's what I want to address today. It's not pride, not ego. It's the divine mark inside you, created to belong, to contribute, to connect deeply. Wanting to matter isn't selfish. I place that desire in you, not for fame, but for purpose. There is a sacredness in how you faced disappointment. You didn't lash out. You stayed. You kept loving, kept serving. What you called survival, I see as quiet endurance. Others may have missed it, but I did not. I saw it shape you into someone gentler, more compassionate to the overlooked. I saw how you gave from scarcity, stayed soft in a hard world. Even when it cost you dearly, I kept count of every cost. Now it's time to unearth the hidden belief that your season of impact is done, that you're just here to help others, that your dreams are relics. That belief is not from me. It comes from silent grief, grief that no one gave you permission to name. But I give you that permission now. You're allowed to grieve who you once were, vivid, seen, confident, and you're allowed to hope for a new version to rise. Not a return to what was, but a resurrection into what could be. Admitting you felt forgotten isn't weakness, it's honesty, and honesty opens the door to freedom. You don't need to fake it for me. I welcome your honesty. In fact, I move where honesty breathes. Bring me your ache. Name the moments you felt unseen. Show me the empty seats you waited in. I was with you through it all. I never needed you to be fine, only near. And you stayed close, questions and pain included. That is why you still walk in my favor. Let me reveal what you've called irrelevance. It's actually hiddenness. Hiddenness is the sacred place where I form my finest vessels. Remember David with his sheep, Moses in exile, Mary in her little village, each carrying promises unseen. You're not being left out, you're being prepared. In the unseen places, I have been shaping something deeper in you than visible fruit. I've been growing roots for what's coming next. The work ahead requires inner stability, unmoved by applause or silence, secure in belonging. That's who you're becoming. Belonging isn't earned, it's your birthright, sealed by blood, held in love, confirmed by my spirit. You are not drifting, not in limbo, but still exactly where I intend you to be. Understanding will come, but for now, rest. You are not passed over, you are held. Everything I hold, I nurture. Everything I nurture, I anoint. Everything I anoint, I release, in perfect time. Something is stirring in you even now. You may lack words, and that's all right. Resurrection always begins in secret, like a seed splitting in dark soil long before green appears. You don't need to understand to believe. You don't have to feel ready. My spirit within you is not waiting for your confidence, but responding to your yes. Small, tired, simple. Healing has begun because you opened the door. I know you're hesitant. Restoration often comes slowly, like dew, not lightning, gentle, steady, covering what's long been dry. But notice, your heart is softening. You find yourself praying again, not out of duty but hunger. You felt a spark of joy the last time you worshipped. Without performing, just being honest. These are signs, small beginnings. I never asked for a flood, just openness. Don't think I am absent just because circumstances haven't changed. Healing often starts with awareness, a renewed connection, a breath of fresh wind through rooms you thought were locked. You may not have returned to every old space, but you have returned to me. That is the turning point. The moment heaven notices, not the outward triumph, but the inward homecoming. Even now, I am arranging things for you, quietly, behind the scenes, in places you've stopped checking. I'm prompting people to remember, to reconnect, to open doors that once seemed permanently shut. I'm reclaiming lost moments, not to send you back, but to lead you forward into something truer. This isn't about going in circles. It's about becoming who you really are, not just returning to what you were. Here's the beauty. You don't have to force this. I'm moving on your behalf. What I open, no one can close. What I speak, no one can undo. You will not need to fight for recognition or beg to be seen. You are already seen, already known, already written into my plan. Human rejection can never erase my design. Let me show you how I work. I choose the overlooked, the unlikely. I crown the rejected, the persistent, the ones who show up even when no one notices. I build my kingdom through the quiet and the faithful. Your place isn't on the margins, but in the story, chosen and essential. There's so much more ahead for you. Not just survival, but laughter and thriving. Dreams reborn, joy rising in ordinary moments. Yes, joy is coming back, not fragile or performative, but grounded in belonging. In resting in the truth that you are wanted, cherished, and even others you haven't met yet will be healed by who you become. One day, people will thank me you didn't give up, that you didn't believe your best days were past, that you kept your heart open, even if it limped. So let the shift begin. Nothing drastic is needed. Just let me in, a little more today than yesterday. Open your hands, drop your shoulders, breathe deep. This is peace. Not everything fixed, but everything brought back to me. Stretch your spirit. There's more space than you realized. The emptiness you felt, it was preparation, not loss. I've been making room for new life to take root. So when you feel that strange mixture of sadness and hope, don't push it away. That's the beginning of resurrection, the ache of soil breaking for something sacred. Don't rush past it, feel it. Let it move you. Let tears fall if they come. Let it melt the defenses you needed to survive. You don't have to brace yourself any longer. You can exhale now. You are not under threat. You are under grace. This is the turning point. Not with a show of force, not with sudden clarity, but with trust. A small internal shift that whispers, maybe, just maybe, I still have a place in this story. Maybe I'm not an extra. not a footnote, but someone chosen for this very hour. You're not ahead or behind. You're not disqualified. You are right on time. I've been in Step Up with your soul, ready to walk this fresh path at your side. So let's begin again. Now that your heart is growing soft once more, let's consider your life. Not just your dreams and emotions, but the way you move through your day. Consider how your body has been carrying this weariness, how you've stretched yourself past your limits, hoping effort would earn you clarity. Please understand, I never asked you to break yourself open to prove your worth. I asked you simply to walk with me, not to sprint, not to collapse, but just to walk. You've been striving to keep up with expectations I never put on you. Now I want to realign you, not just spiritually, but also practically. Let's begin with your body. You're tired, aren't you? Not just tired, but depleted, down to your soul. You've called it burnout, stress, a rough season. I've watched as you ignored the signals, overrode your need for rest, telling yourself you hadn't earned permission to stop. But that's not my design for you. Even in the garden, before brokenness entered the story, I wove rest into creation's rhythm. I did not rest on the seventh day because I needed to. I did it to show you how to live whole. You've been skipping rest because you fear falling behind. But beloved, when you walk with me, there's no such thing as behind. I want you to see rest as sacred again, not as luxury, but as necessity, as obedience. You can't hear my whispers when you're racing past me. You can't receive fresh vision when your eyes are heavy with fatigue. You are not a machine, not for ministry, not for work, not even for survival. You are a living soul, designed to breathe, to listen, to slow down and be held. So today, begin to ask yourself, not what must I push through, but where is God inviting me to pause, to breathe, to simply be? And what about your time? You've been pulled in so many directions, good things, even necessary things, but not all are yours to carry. I never called you to be everywhere, to say yes to every request or opportunity. I called you to fruitfulness, not frenzy. Fruit only grows from abiding. You've hesitated to disappoint people by drawing boundaries. But remember, you were not created to keep everyone comfortable. You were made to carry my presence. My presence will never scatter you thin. It anchors you in peace. You've thought your gentleness was weakness, that quiet seasons made you less useful. Not true. Your gentleness is your new strength. Your restraint is holy. Your no can be just as anointed as your yes when it's rooted in me. You're learning discernment, seeing what drains you and what feeds you. I am proud of you for noticing. Every time you choose presence over pressure, you honor the image of God in you. Let's talk about your inner life too, your heart, your spirit, your emotional rhythms. You've been holding so much, absorbing the weight of others, feeling deeply and hiding it beneath composure. But you were never meant to carry the world's pain as your own. You're not called to be everyone's emotional tank. You can care deeply without drowning. You can love fiercely without losing your center. You can walk with people without bleeding every time they are hurting. Let me teach you how. Part of belonging means belonging to yourself again, to the you I formed before the roles and the labels, before the striving. The you who loved me simply, who danced when no one watched, who knew worship didn't need to be productive to be precious. That part of you is not lost, only waiting to be remembered. Every time you release a false burden, you step a bit closer to your true self in me. Every time you breathe instead of panic, listen instead of rush, rest instead of prove, you return to your rightful place. That's what this season is about. Not proving you belong, but living from your belonging. There's a difference. When you know you belong, you stop explaining your choices. You stop trying to be understood by people who were never meant to carry your calling. You stop performing, you start planting, you start tending. You rest in the knowing that my yoke is easy, my burden light. Let me say it clearly again. You do not have to be on all the time. You don't need to be accessible to everyone. You don't have to justify your rest, your quiet, your boundaries. I see your heart and know your intent. I am not calling you to impress. I am calling you to be whole. Wholeness is not hustle. Wholeness is quieter than applause, but it's where joy lives, and your joy is returning. So start small. Say no when it gives you peace. Step away when it protects your heart. Make space for silence, not just as a break, but as a sacred place where I speak without noise. Let your Sabbath become a revolution. Let your rest become worship. Let your boundaries be bridges to clarity. You don't have to explain what you're healing from. Just heal. Trust that I am guiding the rhythm. What I build in you through stillness will be stronger than anything you could force with pressure. This new season I'm bringing you into requires not more effort, but more alignment, more presence, more rootedness, less noise. You will still move and work and love and create, but from overflow, not depletion. From me, not from fear. From rest, not from rush. And as you begin to live that way, you'll notice the world around you adjusting. What doesn't fit will fall away. What's truly yours will remain and grow. And the question, do I still belong, will fade, because your life will finally reflect someone who knows they do. You've worn so many names that were never yours, quietly, out of necessity, maybe even out of survival. Over time, you started to forget who you were before the world asked you to perform, to fix, to be what others needed. Somewhere along the way, you became the strong one, the reliable one, the spiritual one, the steady one, the one who never asked for help. Yes, some of those roles grew from beautiful roots, a desire to serve, to protect, to give. But remember, child, you are not what wore you down. You are not simply the masks you needed to get through unseen seasons. You are not the version shaped in places where love felt conditional, where affection depended on usefulness. You have always been more than what others noticed. Now I am peeling back the layers, not to expose you, but to set you free. I see the real you beneath it all, the heart that still longs for genuine connection, the childlike wonder buried beneath deadlines and disappointments, the part of you that wants to laugh freely, to trust without suspicion, to wake to possibility, not just responsibility. I see your grief too, the sorrow of having to become someone you never truly were. It's okay to grieve the roles that served a season but now no longer serve your soul. It's okay to mourn the pieces that held everything together. They did what they had to, but now I'm inviting you to something deeper, not smaller, just truer. The truth of who you are when nothing is demanded of you. The truth of who you are when no one's watching. The truth of who you are when there's nothing left to prove. That's the you I love. That's the you I gave everything to restore. That's the you I am calling back. You see, identity in my kingdom never begins with performance. It starts with presence. When I called my son beloved, he hadn't worked a miracle, preached, or walked on water. Still I declared, "This is my son, in whom I am well pleased." That word rests over you too. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are to me before you earned, before you achieved, before you tried. You belong. Fully, freely, unconditionally. Maybe that's the hardest thing to accept. You don't have to keep proving yourself to stay included. Your presence is not a favor to me. It is the fulfillment of my design. You belong, not as a visitor, not as an afterthought, but as a child, whose name is written in my family, not penciled in, but engraved. Let me show you the enemy's tactics. He doesn't try to break your spirit all at once. He confuses your identity. If he can make you believe you're only as valuable as your last accomplishment or fruitful season, then he knows you'll begin to disconnect from your source. And when you're disconnected, you fade, first inside, then on the outside. I am here to end that now. You're not fading. You're being redefined by truth, not by trauma. And the truth is, you are not behind. You're not forgotten. You are not too old, too slow, too late, too quiet, too wounded. You are precisely the age I need for what's next. You are exactly the temperament I designed for this hour. You're not missing something vital. You're carrying something precious, even if unseen. Just because it hasn't been visible doesn't mean it hasn't been growing. You don't need to upgrade yourself to matter. You don't need to make yourself more palatable, efficient, available, or visible. I already know you fully, and I still say yes to you. Can you feel that release, that gentle exhale inside? That's what happens when false labels lift, when shame is silenced, when you stop running from the question, do I still belong? And hear my clear answer, yes, always, yes. Remember what I whispered to you in quiet moments. You are not average, you are not ordinary. I designed you for glory, not for fame, but the kind of glory that radiates through gentleness, resilience, costly kindness, presence, deep truth. That is your glory, and no one else can carry it quite like you. So from now on, let go of any name that doesn't match what I call you. When shame says too much, I say perfectly placed. When fear says too late, I say right on time. When comparison says not enough, I say more than enough, for you have me. When exhaustion says you can't keep going, I say I am your strength. Let my voice be the loudest. You still belong here, not as the you who survived, but as the one who's about to thrive, because you now remember where you belong. Let's talk now about living from this place, not just feeling belonging for a fleeting moment or catching it like a breeze that quickly passes, but making it your rhythm, your practice, your daily returning. Belonging isn't merely something you know, it's something you embody, again and again, in the quiet routines and unnoticed spaces of your life. When no one's watching, when everything feels familiar, I want to meet you right there, in the simple patterns, in the stillness, in every small choice. Start with how you show up for yourself. You've become used to checking on everyone else first, measuring your worth by your helpfulness, your availability, your strength. But living this new way begins by asking yourself, am I treating my own soul like it truly belongs here too? If you still speak to yourself harshly, treat your body as a burden, or race through your day as though your needs don't matter, then the truth of your belonging hasn't yet settled deeply enough. But I want it to. I want you to treat yourself the way I treat you. Gently, consistently, honestly, tenderly. This means choosing moments of quiet, not to escape, but to reconnect. Setting aside time not just to pray for others, but to be with me, for you. I know that's uncomfortable sometimes. You've learned to survive by pushing down your needs, by pretending they're already covered. But I want to cover you, freshly, daily, directly. I want to be your daily bread, not your emergency comfort. I want to be the rhythm of your morning, not just your last resort at night. Not because I am needy, but because you are beloved. And beloved ones don't live on crumbs, but feast at the table. Take this as your permission. Wake up early just to sit with me, not to fix anything, not to plan, but simply to be. Light a candle, breathe deeply. Let me love you in the silence. You don't need a perfect journal or special words. Just come. I am already there, waiting, not with demands, but with presence. And as you make space for me, I will speak. You will feel gentle nudges, not loud, but unmistakable. Invitations to let go of small resentments, to forgive someone quietly held in your heart, to text a friend not from obligation, but because love is flowing again, to rest on a day you had planned to push through, or to take a step forward when you wanted to hide. These nudges are not pressure or performance. They are acts of alignment, small echoes of heaven whispered into your everyday. That's what true belonging sounds like. Movement without anxiety, obedience without fear, joy without striving. And sometimes this will mean saying no, not as rebellion, but as wisdom. No to invitations that exhaust your spirit. No to requests that pull you into performance. No to old people-pleasing patterns that once made you feel valued, but now only leave you empty. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you open to the yeses that matter most. And I will guide you to see which are yours to accept. You won't be stumbling in the dark. You'll sense my breath in your decisions, my peace as confirmation. Let me teach you to listen again, not just to sermons, but to my spirit within you. You've doubted your discernment because others didn't validate what you sensed. But I was speaking all along. You aren't imagining things. My spirit whispers through impressions, through scripture, through atmosphere, through quiet moments you didn't expect. Pay attention. Don't just ask, what should I do? Ask, where does your peace rest right now? That's your compass. I gave it so you could walk through unknown seasons without fear. Let go of the idea that obedience must be dramatic to be meaningful. Some of your greatest acts of faith in this next season will be quiet, unseen by crowds, but celebrated in heaven. Choosing silence when your ego wants to speak, staying rooted when escape feels easier, extending mercy when pulling away would be simpler. These are not small things, they are seismic in my spirit, and I will walk with you through them all. There will be moments when the old voices return, whispering, "Does this really matter? Or why bother if no one sees?" That's when you come back to me, not just in theory, but with intention. Return to that still, rooted place. Let me remind you again, you belong, this matters, I see it, I bless it. Keep going. You'll know you're walking in alignment with me. When your inner life grows more honest, your boundaries become clearer, and your joy becomes less dependent on outside circumstances. You'll be less afraid to disappoint people, more afraid to miss my voice. You'll care more about truth than appearances, and begin to feel at home in your own skin again, not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer performing. This isn't about becoming someone entirely new. It's about returning to the one you were before the world pressed in, before burnout, before the noise, before striving. You're not starting from scratch. You are being remembered into fullness, one piece, one breath, one step at a time. This is how you move forward now, not with pressure, but with presence. Not with anxiety, but with rhythm. Not with fear, but with me. Can you sense it shifting around you? Not everything looks different yet, but something in the air has changed. The weight is lighter, the fog lifting, just enough for the light to slip in. You're stepping into new space, not just inside yourself, but in the world around you. The ground that once felt hard is softening. Doors that seemed closed are creaking open. None of this is random. It's me. I have been working on your behalf, even while you were still wondering if it was safe to hope again. What I whispered to you in secret will soon begin echoing in visible spaces. I am not only healing your heart in hidden places, I am positioning you, even now, in sight. But this is not about performance, not about platforms. It's about placement. There are conversations being prepared with your name on them. Rooms you thought you'd never re-enter are about to ask for your voice again. Spaces where you once shrank are ready for your full presence. This is not hype. It's heaven's rhythm. Pay attention to what begins to shift around you in the coming days. Not with fear, but with hope. There will be signs, conversations that awaken something inside, invitations that come unexpectedly, old dreams that rise with fresh clarity. You'll know they are from me because they won't require you to strive. They will meet the healed you, not the hustling you. You won't need to push your way in. I'm opening doors that match your restoration, not your exhaustion. And yes, there will be moments when fear tries to whisper, "This is too good to be true." When it does, pause and remember, I have been preparing you for this. I do not tease my children with false hope. I don't stir your heart to only disappoint it again. If something is awakening in you, if passion returns, if ideas reignite, if trust breathes anew, it's because I am breathing into you. I am rekindling the coals that almost went cold. Now it's time to stop waiting for permission and start walking in alignment. My favor is moving toward you, not because you earned it, but because you are ready to carry it from a healed place. You have always had my love, my spirit. But there are seasons when favor waits, when I hold back movements not to punish, but to protect the seed of who you are becoming. That is how deeply I love you. Now I see readiness in you, strength that comes from stillness, clarity that was shaped by listening, confidence anchored in identity, not applause. This is the version of you I have longed to partner with, the you who can step into new things without losing yourself. You don't need to see the whole map. I rarely reveal everything, but I always give enough light for your next step. Trust that light. Trust me when I nudge you to reach out to someone. Trust me when an idea returns that you had shelved years ago. Trust me when I set your heart aflame over something ordinary. That's me, teaching you to live by spiritual sensitivity, not just by outward certainty. Don't measure what's coming by what you've seen before. I am doing something new, something that won't look like your last season. Let go of old strategies. Don't try to fit new grace into old containers. I am not repeating a past miracle. I am making a new one. Your mind may crave the familiar, but your spirit was made for wonder. Let go of any boxes that kept you small for others but unrecognizable to yourself. I did not create you to be manageable, but miraculous. Begin walking like someone who knows they belong. You don't need validation from the crowd. You already have it from heaven. You don't have to hustle for a place in someone else's story. I have already written you into mine. The yes over your life is not tentative. It's not up for review. It's not based on past performance. It is sealed, final, and eternal. And as you dare to truly believe this, watch the atmosphere around you change. Notice how people respond to you differently, how boldness rises without pride, how clarity comes without pressure. You've been waiting for a sign. Here it is. The season has shifted. You are not just healed, you are being released. Step forward, not as someone unsure of their place, but as one who is sent. Not as someone waiting to be chosen, but as someone who already is. I am with you. I go before you. I am behind you. Every step will be confirmed with peace. This is what belonging brings. Movement. This is your moment to move. You've survived the silence, the longing, the ache of not knowing where you fit. Now you stand in a space that is holy, because it is, not because everything is resolved, but because you remembered where to stand. With me, in me, depending on me. This is the moment I invite you deeper, not into doing more, but into breathing differently. Into living not just for me, but with me. You've known me as your savior, your restorer, your comforter. Now I long for you to know me as your rhythm, your breath, your moment-by-moment companion, never farther away than your next inhale. The Holy Spirit is not a dramatic visitor, arriving only in moments of high worship or crisis. He is the very breath in your lungs. He doesn't only show up when you're overwhelmed. He's the reason you're still standing, the reason you made it through the confusing nights, the reason your heart has dared to open itself again, even with caution. I want you to stop treating my spirit as your backup plan, only for emergencies or when your strength has run dry. Instead, walk with him the way you breathe, with constancy, with surrender, with quiet trust. Right now, you are learning something sacred, that belonging is not something you chase, but something you breathe. With every breath that draws your attention back to me, you strengthen roots no storm can shake. I don't want your days to begin with tension and pressure. I want them to begin with presence. Before your feet even touch the floor, let your first awareness be, I am not alone. The Spirit of God is with me, in me, ahead of me. Let that truth quiet the chaos before it starts. You've been trained to wake up bracing for the world. I want to retrain you to wake up anchored in me. As you walk through each day, let that breath remain. Pause before conversations. Take a breath before you answer a text or respond to a demand. Close your eyes for 5 seconds before you react. Ask, Holy Spirit, are you here? And feel the warmth that answers, I never left. This is how you live as one who belongs, not in theory, but as reality. You stop grasping, stop rushing. You begin to respond. You start to notice. The breeze in the trees reminds you I'm near. The quiet idea that lands on your heart is treated with reverence. The unexpected tears are recognized as cleansing rather than weakness. Some days you might feel you've lost this connection again. That's okay. That's why it's called a rhythm, not a formula. When you drift, you return. When you forget, you breathe again. There's no punishment for needing to begin again. I never tire of welcoming you back. The rhythm of my spirit was never meant to shame you. It was meant to carry you. Yes, this means letting go of the demand to keep proving your strength. I never asked you to be invincible, only to be present. My strength is made perfect not in your idea of perfection, but in your surrender. So when you feel weak, it isn't a signal to hide, but an invitation to lean in. You've asked me to guide you, and I will. But my guidance is more about relationship than direction. I want to walk with you, not just give you answers. I want your obedience to flow from love, not anxiety. So stop obsessing over getting it right. Stay close enough to hear me whisper, because I don't only lead you through plans, I lead you with my peace. This is how your next season will unfold, not in grand displays, but in daily dependence. You will become someone others look to, not because you are flashy or forceful, but because you carry a different atmosphere. People will feel my nearness when they sit with you. They'll feel safe, they'll feel seen, not because of you, but because of me and you, finally unhindered by fear. You have been washed clean of the lie that you are behind. Now you walk in the light of one who knows they are carried. No longer are you dragging your life forward, but walking in step with grace. And grace moves differently. It doesn't sprint, it doesn't panic. Grace flows, breathes, waits, obeys. This is the new song of your soul. No longer desperate for a place, no longer pleading to be seen, no longer exhausted from striving to be what others needed. Now you are still, rooted, spirit-led, full. Yes, child, this is what belonging was always meant to feel like. Take a moment and look at the journey. From the ache of invisibility to the quiet rediscovery of identity, to the sacred return of hope. Can you sense the change? It's not just lighter, it's stronger, still tender, but no longer fragile. There is a holy stillness here, and it is not empty. It's full of me. This is what happens when you remember who you are. When you stop resisting the truth you always secretly hoped was real. You still belong here. That was never in doubt from my side. You have never been forgotten, never misplaced, never benched while I restructured my plans. I never needed to reconsider your worth, not once. I wasn't waiting for better performance or a faster rebound. I was waiting for the right moment to awaken you, to remind you not only of your place in the world, but of your place in my heart. Now something has shifted for good, because it's not just that you know you belong, it's that you're starting to live as though you believe it. And that changes everything. It changes the way you speak, the way you enter a room, the way you respond when the old lies try to return. You're no longer chasing validation. You carry it, not with arrogance, but with alignment. That's the difference between the old you and the healed you. You don't perform for worth, you walk from it. From this place, I am sending you out, not to start over, but to re-enter the world from wholeness. The places you're called may not have changed, but you have. You're not bringing burnout or neediness masked as generosity. You're not offering yourself to be depleted in order to feel valuable. Now you're moving in overflow, showing up as someone deeply seen, deeply loved, deeply led. This is where we begin again, not with striving, but with peace. I am calling you into conversations, not to prove your wisdom, but to bring presence. I am inviting you into creativity, not to impress, but to reflect my nature. I am leading you into community, not to be the fixer, but to be real. I am calling you into visibility again, not because you need a spotlight, but because light is meant to be seen. And you are light, not perfect light, but redeemed light, mended and radiant. The kind of light that carries scars and stories and sacred authority. And I am still building through you, no matter your age or how distant you feel from ready. I don't need your timeline, I just need your trust. I will take the years the locusts have eaten and make them fruitful again. I will use the wounds others missed. I will multiply what felt lost. I will restore the sound of your voice, not by making it louder, but clearer. People will hear you differently now, not because you demand attention, but because you speak from truth. When the enemy tries again to whisper, tries to awaken that ache of being overlooked, remember this moment. Remember how I met you, not to push you with pressure, but to re-enter you with love. You have never been a burden. You have always been a vessel, chosen, shaped, and cherished, even in the moments when you thought I was silent. Now walk, not as someone unsure of their place, but as one who knows where they come from. You come from me, you carry me. You're stepping into spaces that will shift because of what I have placed inside you. Not by force, but with steady, faithful rain. This is your confirmation. This is your breath restored. This is your re-entry. You are not just welcomed back. You are needed, expected, delighted in. You still belong here. You always did. And now, you're ready to live as if you truly do. And if these words awaken something in you, let them linger. Don't rush away. Beloved, if these words stirred something in you, don't let it fade. This is not the end. It's the beginning of your return. A return to presence, to peace, to who you truly are in me. The world will try to pull you back into noise, into striving, into forgetting. But every time you feel the ache of not belonging, come back here. Come back to this space where my voice meets your soul. Come back to remember who you are and whose you are. Because this isn't just a video, it's an altar, a sanctuary, a holy pause in your week. So subscribe, not for content, but for reminders. Follow, not for entertainment, but for alignment. And share this with someone else who's quietly wondering if they still matter. Let's build more than a channel. Let's build a rhythm of revival together. I'll be waiting here every time you return, because you still belong. And I'm not done speaking. Until next time, stay near, stay open, and never forget, I am still with you. Amen.